It's very non-invasive, it's very gentle, it's very safe, yet it's very powerful. And you're very lightly touching. It's that type of therapeutic touch. It doesn't require any pressure at all. So it's not like acupressure or massage. The most common thing I listen to while I'm doing a Reiki treatment is snoring. Because people find it so deeply relaxing. And these are people that actually come to me very often that have insomnia. So I always find it I'm happy if they fall asleep, because that may be what their particular body needs to heal, to accept that healing on whatever level. Absolutely. If they're falling asleep, it makes no difference at all. Some people get very chatty. Different people have different experiences each time, but it usually is deeply relaxing. It usually feels wonderful. I think just because we're Westerners, we don't know about energy, and we don't understand how we could be healed through energy work, so we're suspicious and we're skeptical of how could this really help us. But my thinking is, you've got really nothing to lose by trying something. It can never hurt you. And it can actually be fantastic if someone is recovering from a serious ailment. It can work very well as a complementary therapy to conventional medicine. It never interferes with conventional medicine. But yeah, people are nervous of those things. I think we're seeing a lot more integration. We're seeing acupuncture covered by MSP. People are doing yoga, they're hearing about these other alternative therapies. And Reiki is very much a time-tested therapy. It's been around since the turn of the century. Choosing someone, I think it's just finding that good fit for you, finding that right person who you feel really comfortable with. It's probably just like finding any professional. You know, word of mouth is probably a really good way. Clearly you've got internet. Someone who's not too far from home is usually good, just because it's not going to take you that long to get to their home or to their studio for treatment. They should be a certified Reiki Master teacher. Other than that, they could be a Reiki practitioner level 2, which allows them to do treatments for clients. A doctor, it depends on the doctor. Like, some doctors would know about Reiki. Probably more naturopathic doctors would know about Reiki, or homeopaths would know about Reiki, as opposed to traditional doctors. And it would be as varied as I think anything you could possibly find, where you've got doctors that go, oh yeah, I've done that. I know all about that. I've got a friend who does that, to people that going, oh, that's silly, you know, that doesn't make any sense. It's because you can't see it. When you can't see something, you tend to think it doesn't exist. Yeah, you would still have benefits from Reiki because, again, Reiki is an intelligent energy. It will actually go to the root of the problem. Clearly you want to make adjustments in your lifestyle as well to further enhance, you know, your whole wellness package. But no one's perfect. So I think you're always going to fall down a little bit, but that's okay. That's just being human. But yeah, no, Reiki will work for anybody. I have people that come to me that are very health conscious with what they eat. Then I have people that come to me completely the opposite. And it still is going to help them. This is probably one of the things that Reiki does that conventional medicine does not do, because Reiki works not only on the physical, it works on the mental, emotional, and spiritual levels of a person. And we all have those different levels within us. So oftentimes it's an emotional root to a physical problem. Once that emotional root is removed, the physical problem is then removed. And it could be anything from negative emotions experienced just in daily stress, because living is stressful, daily life is stressful. Dealing with traffic, children, money, you know, all those issues we've got, to just people that have had childhood trauma. So sometimes the trauma or the reason for their physical problems, they don't even know what it is. Very interesting. Sometimes you will get a client, and I've had this, where they in fact are receiving a Reiki treatment and they will actually have what is called an emotional release, which is actually very therapeutic and really good for their healing, and usually will advance it really rapidly. What happens is they will do anything from sitting up in the middle of looking like they're sleeping, to starting to talk, waving their arms, to someone who starts to cry uncontrollably. I've had people who have had Reiki that have said they've experienced a complete life review of their whole life. So I never know what's going to happen. It's really fun and it's really interesting to see what's going to happen with different people. But you don't have to have that therapy where you're talking about things necessarily. Distance healing, that's something people are really fascinated by, and I was extremely fascinated by distance healing when I first started doing Reiki. When you have a Reiki level 2 ability, or you're a Reiki Master, you're actually able to do Reiki as distance healing, and without getting into too much technical information, the way it is done is using symbols which form keys, energy keys, which enable that Reiki energy to travel to someone maybe in hospital. It may not be convenient for them to come to a studio and have a Reiki treatment. It might just be that they're a very busy person and they don't have the travel time. They may not even live in your city. So it's a fantastic tool to be able to use and actually send via distance healing. I really don't have to ask anything except their permission. I always have to get their permission for healing to take place. Once I have permission, normally if it's a client, we set up a time. Therefore, they usually relax in their own home. They might lie in bed. They might play some lovely soothing background music that they might hear when they have a Reiki treatment. Whatever works, but they don't have to actually do that. Well, people like the hands-on healing, in-person healing, because they can talk to you. They can actually, you know, feel your hands touching them. And let's face it, human touch is therapeutic on its own. You know, that's why I say a senior citizen, nothing could be better for a senior citizen in a hospital or nursing home to have actual hands-on Reiki. You know, these people could be people that have been, you know, on their own for many, many years, and very rarely do they receive a therapeutic touch. So that in its own has miraculous power besides just Reiki. And distance healing certainly works well. You may have someone who's incapacitated in a wheelchair, travel time, they're in another city, they can relax in the comfort of their own home or their own hospital bed. And yet I'm talking hospital, but really I encourage people to use Reiki no matter what, just for stress relief. You don't want to get to that point where you're physically ill. That's sort of the last place that your energy system will actually manifest the problem, is your physical body. And I think you know how it will feel when you feel sort of, you all get those days where you feel kind of out of sorts. Oh, I just don't feel, I feel kind of out of sorts. On a scale of 1 to 10, maybe I'm a 6. That's the beginning of something is not quite right, and it might just go away. To people who really feel ill all the time, hence chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, and a lot of these ailments, you know, we didn't even have a label for them before. I don't even know if we had them before, but our lives are very stressful.